Wait, but
that
first of all,
prevents
right?
the
Wait, but first of all, what's going to be the justification for objective morals even existing?
I'm not finished. Calm down. I
Wait, but
already know
this
you're
whole
getting
argument
nervous.
presupposes that objective morality
Calm
actually
down.
exists, dumb fuck.
No, it doesn't. What? I can be a moral relativist. Can you defeat my argument if I'm a moral relativist?
Wait. So are you saying, wait. So
How does
your
that
claim, dumb fuck, was that it is more morally permissible, right, to be X than to be Y. That
there's nothing wrong
presupposes
with
that things
No,
can
it
even
doesn't.
be
No,
morally
it doesn't.
permissible in the first
No,
place,
sure.
which
I'm a moral
presupposes the
relativist.
existence of
I'm
moral
a moral
facts.
relativist.
So
No, it
it's going to
doesn't follow.
be
That
the
doesn't
justification.
follow.
Yes, it
Holy
does,
shit,
dumb
you're
fuck.
retarded. I don't
Because
know. It
your
doesn't.
proposition, right?
No, I
Your
don't.
proposition
Oh my God,
originally
you're
that you
so
wanted to
retarded.
defend,
You're so
dumb fuck.
retarded.
Which again,
You're so
right?
retarded.
Which again, your argument
You're
doesn't even
actually
lead
so
to that
retarded.
proposition, right?
Wait,
I'm
why
just
does-
being very
why does-
charitable and just
why does-
attacking the argument
why doesn't
anyways,
it?
right?
Why
Even though it would
doesn't
just be a
it? Why
non
doesn't it?
sequitur,
Can you
dumb
tell me-
fuck.
can you
Okay,
explain
cool.
why it doesn't?
So,
Can you tell me why-
anyways, right? You said, can I
tell me why it
explain
doesn't
why it doesn't actually lead to the proposition you gave?
Good bitch.
Are
Yeah,
you
answer the fucking
retarded?
question, you retard. Answer the fucking
What question, dumb fuck?
Yeah, the question on how
I
it is
can't
the
hear
case
you
that
because
it's
your
not-
microphone is
Hello?
cutting out because your microphone is garbage.
Yeah. I'm on mobile and you're on fucking loud for some reason. Some weird.
How am I loud? How am I loud? This is my normal microphone.
Yeah, sure. Anyway,
How am
so
I being loud,
basically,
dumb fuck?
are you gonna let me continue, or are you gonna keep dodging?
Are you gonna stop stuttering?
No, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna keep stuttering. How many times? That's
Yeah,
not
okay,
stuttering.
but
Oh,
you're
wow.
clearly nervous, right? But it's
Yeah,
entirely fine, right?
nervous.
So again,
So
go
nervous.
ahead and justify, right, how your conclusion of this argument leads to the proposition, or actually is identical with the proposition, right, that it is more morally permissible to be a vegan than it is to be a carnivore. Because that was the proposition you said you were going to defend, dumb fuck.
The thing is, Focus. Like, I don't know if you suffer from like some severe case of autism, right?
Holy
I was
shit.
speaking, you interrupted me, right? So if you want me to actually speak, you're gonna have to be a good bitch and tell me.
Oh my God, yo, dumb fuck. How about actually justify how your conclusion is identical to the proposition that you said you were going to defend?
I'll justify
I'm
once
waiting,
you
by the way.
confirm to me. I'll justify
waiting,
once
by
you
the way.
confirm to me. Once you confirm to
waiting,
me,
by
you'll
the
stay
way.
quiet like a good bitch. Let me know. Are you gonna be
I'm
quiet?
waiting, by the way, bitch.
Mute up. Mute up, and I'll do it, son.
Or what?
Mute up,
Or
and I'll do
what?
it.
Or what,
Oh, then
bitch?
you're simply gonna accept your
You don't agree
concession.
to moderation either,
I'll accept your
faggot. How is that a
concession. I don't-
concession? Go ahead and justify that.
Simply because I say that to be the case. The same way that you.
Yeah, try not to stutter next time, buddy.
Yeah.
And why is that even inferential? Go ahead.
Yeah, just because I feel like it. All right, so are you gonna stop
How's that
interrupting?
inferential? Go ahead.
Are you gonna stop interrupting and mute up?
Okay. Cool. So you
Alright,
can
so
see
are you
on
gonna
that
meet
point.
up?
That's entirely fine, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you again. Why is it the case that
No,
your
when you
conclusion
meet
for this argument is
Let me
identical
know
to the
when you meet up.
proposition that is more morally
Let me know when you
permissible
meet up.
to be a
I'll
vegan than it
continue.
is to be a carnivore?
I'll continue when you actually stop talking. Let me know when you stop talking.
Wait, okay, cool. So you're just not gonna go
Are you
and give
gonna-
an argument as to why,
No,
actually,
no,
right? You're not gonna give a
no,
justification
but
as
for
to why it
some
is
reason,
analytically
people
the
look
case that your
like that.
conclusion is
Hold on,
identical to the proposition you said you were gonna defend.
Wait, I can just say logically follows. Is there anything wrong with that?
You said it logically follows. That's why I'm asking you to justify, dumb fuck.
Yeah.
So how about
Okay,
you
so you
actually
actually
explain
justify-
why it is
Okay, please.
analytically the case? Because if it logically
Wait,
follows,
wait,
that would mean
I'm-
that it is analytically the case, right?
Yeah, it's the modus
Because you
ponens.
were saying
It's
that
the
you were
modus
going to defend
ponens.
X
It's the modus
proposition,
ponens.
but then
It's the
you
modus
give me
ponens.
a Y
It's the
proposition.
modus ponens.
It's
It's
modus
the modus
ponens. How is it
ponens.
modus ponens?
It's
What's
modus
modus
ponens.
ponens here?
Yeah, modus
What's
ponens is going to be. Yeah, are you gonna?
I know what modus
Why do
ponens
you?
is, dumb fuck, but
Why
I'm
do you?
asking what argument is modus ponens that you're trying to posit?
Are you okay? Can you stop
You mean the
interrupting?
argument that I gave in the chat?
Bro, whose mic is that?
Are you talking about the argument that I gave in the chat as modus ponens? Yeah, duh, that's modus ponens.
No,
dumb fuck.
I said-
I'm asking you
Hold the
why
fuck-
the
what are you talking
conclusion is identical to the proposition.
What do you
that
mean? Well,
gave
oh
originally
yeah,
you said you were gonna defend.
yeah. It's simple. I was explaining it. So let's see if you don't actually interrupt this time. So it seems to be the case that.
I know what modus ponens is.
All right. So I don't know, bro. I
the syllogism.
No, I'm not restating the syllogism. The thing is, you're not letting me speak. I don't know if you're
so
like.
what's the justification as to why the conclusion of that syllogism is identical to the proposition that veganism is
be able to
morally
explain.
permissible?
I'm like going to be able to
than
explain, or are you going to keep speaking over me?
Hurry the fuck up.
All right, beautiful. So it is the case that when we engage in eating as carnivores, we are explicitly going through with the suffering of animals. It is the case that some animals actually have the capability to suffer. There is a neurological sector for this that's known as sentience. And it does seem to be the case that veganism completely avoids this. And if, when it comes to my argument, we talk about how the avoidance of suffering under my moral relativistic seems to be more moral, then it's just going to logically follow. Okay, do you want me to write it out?
Again, that did not all explain how the conclusion from that syllogism is identical with the proposition that being a carnivore
I already gave it.
is
Yeah.
less morally permissible, dumb fuck.
Yeah.
You are
So
just
you're
saying
causing
these two
suffering.
things
So
are
you're causing
similar or one
suffering.
can lead
Yes,
to
you're
another.
causing
But
suffering. It's
again,
simple.
the conclusion
You're
is
causing
still not
suffering.
identical to that
Because you're
proposition,
causing
dumb fuck. Saying
suffering.
that
Holy
entities
shit.
should be
Holy shit.
protected
You're not even
is
listening.
not the
You're not
identical
even listening.
proposition to the proposition that being a
You're not
vegan
even
is more
listening.
morally permissible
All
than
right.
not being a
If
vegan,
I already
dumb fuck.
explained, yeah. I explained that being a carnivore actually just promotes suffering, and that's the thing that we should avoid under my framework. Do you actually have a defeater?
Wait. Okay,
Do you have a
first of
defeater?
all, right?
Uh-huh.
I can give a defeater to that after, right? But again, I'm asking you to clarify why these two propositions are identical because you did not. You're just saying that your proposition that you gave originally would lead to this or this would lead to that proposition. That does not at all justify how they're identical, right? So do you have more to this argument?
In the sense of the moral framework that I'm operating on, you fucking baboon.
Okay, cool, right? Again, that does
Did you
not
listen to what I said?
justify how
Can
these
you repeat
two
what I said?
propositions
Can you
are
repeat what I said, you fucking
identical.
retard?
Dumb
Repeat it.
fuck. Your whole
Repeat
argument
it, retard.
is simply
Repeat
just
it,
saying,
retard.
right?
I'm asking.
that
I'm giving you a
the
fucking order.
conclusion
Repeat it,
of this
retard.
right here
Repeat it, retard.
leads to that
Repeat it,
proposition. I'm
retard.
asking you how does it lead to that proposition, dumb fuck?
Holy fucking shit, you dumb fucking retard
How does it
baboon. You
lead to that
fucking retard.
proposition?
Yeah, I've already explained under my framework.
Okay, cool. So you have no type of
Continue
explanation.
speaking.
You tried to give an
Yeah, I
explanation.
was
You fucking
explaining, but
repeated
for
yourself.
some
You got
reason, I
fucking
was
boloed on
explaining.
that point, right? You got
I was
fucking
explaining.
boloed on that point.
I was
So now you're saying
explaining,
you're
but
fucking
I was
spazzing out like a fucking
explaining.
retard
I was
stuttering 'cause you're
explaining,
fucking
but
dog
for
shit.
some reason,
Okay, cool.
I was
You're getting
explaining, but
fucking
for some
body slammed
reason,
on one of your best fucking topics. I have never ever debated anything about morality ever, right? You are getting fucking body slammed right now. You look fucking horrible, right? Now you're typing in the chat because you're getting insecure. You dumb fuck.
no one thinks that. That's why you got fucked by your
Now that
girlfriend,
you
retard.
failed to justify, right, that conclusion
No.
is identical to the
Focus. This
proposition
doesn't
that you
work
said
this
you were
way.
going to
This doesn't
defend.
work.
That's entirely fine, right? That's entirely fine.
This doesn't work this way. I'm sorry. Focus. This doesn't work this way. I'm sorry. So you're gonna mute up.
For P2.
All right. So focus. You're gonna calm down, right? You're gonna be a good little
So what's
bitch.
gonna be the
Yes, I'm
justification
gonna
for
keep
P2?
stuttering. All right, focus. I know you're
Your
autistic. I
argument
know
is
you're
technically
autistic. I know
invalid
you're
to the
autistic.
conclusion that you said you were going to justify, right? I'm just going to ask you anyways just for the hell of it, right? Even though you already lost, right? Even though
All
you
right,
already lost, I'm just going to ask you just for the fuck of it. What's going to be the justification for P2?
Repeat the argument. No, repeat the argument.
So what's going to be the justification for P2?
Repeat the argument right now, or you concede.
So what's going to be the justification for P2?
Repeat the argument. Repeat the argument.
Repeat the argument that I concede. So what's going to be the justification for that?
Because I said so. Now repeat the
Yeah,
argument.
why is that a true dichotomy?
Because I said so.
Because you said
repeat
so?
the argument.
Okay, what's going to be the inference rule behind
Why are
that?
you so scared to repeat the
So
argument?
what's the inference rule?
Why are you so scared to repeat the
So
argument?
what's the inference rule?
Why are you so scared to repeat the argument?
Cool. Okay, cool. So you
Why are you
realize
so scared to
you're gonna
repeat the
get
argument?
fucking body
Yeah,
slammed
sure.
because you
Why
said
are you
something
so
utterly
scared?
fucking retarded. Yeah, sure. Okay, you better
Repeat the
agree, dumb
argument.
fuck. That's
Repeat the
entirely
argument.
fucking fine, right?
Repeat
You
the
have
argument.
failed to give a satisfaction to justify the
argument.
fact that the conclusion that
Repeat
you
the
said
argument.
you were gonna justify, right,
the
is
argument.
actually identical with this conclusion
Repeat the
right here.
argument.
Dumb fuck.
Repeat the
You have been
argument.
utterly fucking murdered
the
on
argument.
that point, right? You
the
are
argument.
fucking garbage. Holy
The
fucking
argument.
shit, right? Now, okay,
Repeat
yeah,
the
your
argument.
whole argument was
Repeat the
basically
argument.
just saying,
All right.
right,
He
that
won.
eating
He won.
animals or being a
No.
carnivore leads to the
He won.
suffering of animals,
He
right?
won.
Which we should avoid.
He
Okay,
won.
cool. I know that you
He
said
won.
that, dumb fuck.
He
But
won.
again, that does not
He won.
justify whatsoever
He
that the
won.
conclusion that you gave
He won.
right there automatically
He won.
is identical to the conclusion
He
you said you were
won.
gonna defend. Now
He
you look like
won.
a fucking retard in front of everybody in
won.
the fucking call.
P1. Where's the
What's this
P1? I'm
word?
waiting
I got
for it.
you.
Where's the
For
P1?
what, dumb fuck?
The P1 for my argument. Are you not tracking, you dumb retard?
Oh my god, it's literally in the chat. If it
No,
is the
I want you to
case
send it
that
again.
NC has
Send it
some
again.
sort of capability to suffer,
Oh,
then
calm
the
down.
entity should be
Hey,
protected.
calm down. Calm
But
down.
again,
Speak slowly,
right?
son.
But
Son,
again, right?
speak slowly,
I have
son.
not at all
Son.
seen a
slowly.
justification, right, for P1 at all, nor have I seen a justification for why the conclusion is identical to the proposition you said you were going to defend,
All right,
dumb
so
fuck.
I don't know. Look, if you don't understand after the list what I'm about to
You
say,
look like a
just-
fucking retard, right?
Yeah, I'm glad you
There's
think
his
that.
argument right there in chat. He has not
I'm glad you
satisfied the
think that.
condition
I'm
for
glad
his
you think that.
conclusion
I'm glad you think
being
that.
the
I'm glad you
exact
think that.
same proposition
I'm
that he
glad
said
you
he was
think
going to
that.
defend. He looks like a
glad
fucking
you think that.
retard.
Yeah,
Holy
sure.
fucking shit, right? So I'm going to ask
Yeah.
you again, right? What is the justification for why your conclusion is
Yeah, I
the
already
exact
told
same
you.
identical proposition to the proposition, right?
Yeah.
That being a vegan is more morally permissible than being a carnivore. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's super simple under my moral framework, right? It is the case that it is.
And what's your moral
Would it be
framework?
cool if I worked
Yeah,
in
I'm
with
a
you?
moral
If that's all
relative.
right?
Wait, hold
Okay.
up, Wix.
Okay, sweet.
So what's your moral framework? You said
Yeah,
you're a
I'm a
moral
moral
relativist,
relativist.
right?
So I'm a moral relativist.
Okay, cool. So how does that justify, right? The conclusion you gave right there is identical to the conclusion that you said you were
I
going
don't
to
know what
defend
you mean by
originally.
conclusion being identical to a premise. You're telling me to beg the question, retard?
I
You want
never
me to
said
beg
a
the question?
conclusion identical to a premise. Wait, is he
You want me to
fucking
beg the
retarded?
question?
He's
You want me
entirely
to beg the
fucking lost
question?
in this
You
discussion,
want me to
right?
beg the
I
question? Hold on. Do you want me to
said
beg the
that
question?
why is it the case that your
You want me to beg
conclusion
the
is
question?
identical to the
Focus.
conclusion that you
Focus.
originally said you were going to defend, dumb
Focus.
fuck?
You
When
want
we
me to
went to
beg
this
the question?
debate, your proposition was it is more morally
What do I beg the question
permissible
on?
to be a
Do I beg the
vegan
question?
than to be a
Yes.
carnivore. That
Yes.
is your proposition,
Yes.
right? That was the conclusion you were going to try to
Listen,
satisfy.
listen,
But then when we
listen,
look at your
listen.
argument,
Focus.
your actual
Focus.
conclusion is
Focus.
that an entity should be
All right.
protected.
Okay, focus,
So
focus.
why are
So
those two things
focus.
identical?
All right, so
The
focus. Can I
conclusion of your
explain? Can I
argument
explain? Am I
should
going to be able to
be, right?
explain?
This is what the
Am I going to be
conclusion of your
able to
argument should
explain?
be. Conclusion: it is more morally permissible to be a vegan instead of a carnivore, dumb fuck. So I'm
All right, so are you going to let me explain, or are you going to keep doing this
We're
to
gonna
rub
leave
off your ego, you
P1
dumb
blank,
retard?
P1.
Are you going to be
P2.
able? All right, so focus. Are you going to focus? Focus. Are you going to let me speak?
More
Focus.
morally permissible
Beautiful. Focus. Are you going to let me
to
speak, or are you going
be
to continue being a retard?
a vegan.
All right, so perfect. So this is what we're going to do, right? This is
Then
what
it
we're going
is
to do. Maybe this
to
is going to
be
be on the
a
recording. Wait, matter of fact.
carnivore. Okay, cool. Go ahead and fill out this
All right,
Recording,
beautiful.
right? Since you
So
originally
now we have a
fucking failed.
power. Now we have a power recording, right? So
Yeah,
this is
try
what
not
we're
to
gonna do.
stutter
I'm
next
gonna
time,
mute.
but
I'm gonna.
anyways,
Yeah,
right?
I'm gonna stutter
Go
how
ahead
many
and
times I
fill
want
that
because
out
I
right there.
sadly
You
can't
already
control it.
conceded
So for the
originally.
recording,
That's
right? The
entirely
argument
fine,
is
dumb fuck.
as
That's entirely
follows.
fine,
So
dumb fuck. Okay,
P1,
cool.
if it is
So
the case that
again,
an entity
right?
has some sort of capability to suffer,
So how
then
about
that
fill out
entity
this
should be
conclusion
protected.
right here? How about
P2,
fill out
it
this
is the
conclusion
case
right
that an
here, right?
entity, he
'Cause
forgot to put the
apparently, right, in your
parentheses,
last argument, you utterly
some
fucking failed to do that.
animals
And I have it on recording.
has
right?
some sort
You
of
said
capability to
originally
suffer.
that the proposition you
Conclusion,
were gonna
the
defend
entity
is
should
that
be
it is
protected.
more morally
Now,
permissible
Focus
to
was
be a vegan
asking
than it is to
exactly
be a
how does this
carnivore,
go
right?
with
But
in
the
hand with
conclusion of your
veganism or being a
argument
carnivore or whatever.
does
And I'm
not
like, okay, cool.
lead
We can simply come to the fact that veganism is this sort of ethical framework that actually does promote what the argument is saying because it is avoiding the suffering of some animals, of the entities that via the argument and my moral framework we should protect. So, for the recording, super clear, extremely fucking clear, right? This argument is simply supposed to establish, right, what we should protect. Then after that, we can talk about, even though it's by virtue of the definition true, how veganism promotes this argument. Now I'm gonna unmute my good little bitch Focus that has already lost to me on theology, which I've never done in my life, and let's see if he actually has an attack to the argument or if he's gonna keep telling me to beg the question on purpose. Alright, go on Focus. I'm gonna give you like the heads up for that. Go ahead.
Look
Go
right
ahead, son.
here, right? Go ahead and fill out both these premises, right? Because the conclusion that you said you were going to originally defend, right, would be that right there. The one I just wrote out in chat. So
All right, hold on, Focus. General question. All right, so we're gonna have to mute you again, so to make sure this goes on the recording. Focus. Genuine question. Did the thing that I just say just flow over your head, or flew over your head? Damn, I like misspelled horribly. Did that just like fly over your head, bro? Like. I explained this, how the first argument is establishing the thing, right, that we should protect, right? And what would come after is the thing about veganism. Do you have a problem with the first argument so we can move on? Yes or no? Simple question. Cool. Focus. All right, so I'm going to mute you again. I'm going to just mute you again. I'm going to ask this again, and please answer the question. Do you want me to push for the second argument that talks about veganism, even though the first one is supposed to establish the entities we should protect? Yes or no? If you agree to the first argument, we can move on to the second one. Okay? Beautiful. All right, do you agree to the first or second argument? Cool. Do you agree to the first or second argument?
He was trying to defend.
All right. So, okay, so Focus. All right.
So you
All
have
right,
an
Focus.
unjustified
Focus.
argument.
Focus. The argument is going to be justified later.
It does not lead
Yeah.
to the proposition you want to defend.
Yeah. Yeah. Focus. You're not tracking. Focus. You're not tracking.
Go ahead and fill
Focus.
out
You're not
these two
tracking.
premises right here.
Focus. I'll fill them if you agree to the
ahead and
first
fill out
argument.
these two
I'll
premises
fill
right
them
here.
if you agree to the first argument.
No, I do not agree.
Okay,
with the
so
first
I'm not going to
argument.
continue until you tell me your disputes with the
That
first argument.
right? Even if I were to agree to it hypothetically, would not at all establish the conclusion that you were trying to reach originally.
It would help me. It would help me. It would help me with the
Yeah,
veganism.
I don't give a
argument.
fuck. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So do you agree or disagree?
Like you stutter so fucking much.
I stutter a lot.
Fucking
Yes.
Christ, you are fucking horrible, right? So,
All right.
anyways,
Go ahead.
anyways,
Let me know.
go ahead and look at the chat. I'm just gonna go ahead and send this again,
Yeah,
right? So it's
like I
P1
said,
and
I don't know
P2.
if you suffer from like severe
what's gonna be
autism or
P1
maybe
and
you
P2?
suffer from Alzheimer's or
what's gonna
something
be
after
P1
the
and P2?
beatdown I gave you on theology,
what's
but
gonna
I
be
made it
P1 and
very,
P2?
very clear, right? Oh wow, I stuttered, and I know I muted him, and he's gonna point out my stutters. So focus. The last time, because I know you're a retard, if I unmute you and you don't understand this again, I'm just gonna push for conclusions, and I'm gonna beg you to post this on your YouTube channel like the good little bitch you are, and just show everyone how retarded you are. So this is going to be super clear. First argument establishes the entities we protect, right? The second one is going to talk how veganism promotes the first argument. So I'm not going to move on to the second argument until you agree or disagree with anything of the first argument. So for everyone in the recording, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to unmute Focus, and hopefully he's going to listen like a good bitch and tell me, okay, I disagree with these premises of the first argument. Or, you know what, I agree to the first argument. Let's move on to the second one. So let's see, good bitch, what's going to be your answer?
Deny an argument, right, which doesn't even lead to the conclusion that he wanted to justify.
Holy shit, this is
All
going
right, so
nowhere.
are you going to tell me?
So go ahead and fill out premise 1 and premise 2.
All right, so we're just going to conclude. This is beautiful. So for anyone that's on the recording, the reason we're pushing for conclusions is because Focus is an inept retard and he has the mental capability of a Down syndrome kid. What's happening here is that Focus does not understand how multiple arguments work. It is the case that I don't need to commit to only one argument, right? I can put 2 arguments, but obviously if we're going to go to a second argument, we're going to need the first one to be agreed upon or disagreed upon, because the first debate is about the first argument, right? Because I made it very clear. Veganism is an ethical framework that establishes the protection of entities that can suffer, presumably some animals. Beautiful. That is absolutely amazing. So I have a question for everyone that's going to watch this, Rick. If it's the case that my first argument is trying to establish which sort of entities we must protect, do you not think Focus looks like an absolute retard, the one that he actually is by virtue of his fucking nature, right? That he doesn't attack the argument, right? Like, Focus, we're concluding, and if you don't want to conclude, that's fine, but like, I'm gonna accept your concession, bitch. So the reason that I won this debate is because Focus couldn't track. He doesn't know what it is to have 2 arguments, and the fact that he's just so scared to commit to agreeing or disagreeing with the first one, because he knows he's not gonna beat me on the whole protecting of sentient entities. So for anyone that actually wants to hear the argument and how I can establish that, simply just DM me at Discord, Father Pucci Speaks, or matter of fact, I might change my username to Focus Dad, because he's my good little bitch, and your girlfriend is a retarded cuck. She is hideous as fuck, by the way. And we're just gonna end this right here. Thank you for conceding, Focus. You really wasted my time because I was playing with Tron and Free, and this was absolutely just like, I could have done so much more with these 15 minutes of my wasted time.
I would actually take that as a concession, right? Because
that doesn't follow. I already explained it in the recording. Don't worry.
different from the conclusion that you originally posited. Dumb fuck.
Yeah, sure.
Holy fucking
Yeah, sure.
shit, right? So I'm just gonna ask you again for the final time.
No, we are. Don't worry. We just concluded.
Oh, y'all just concluded, bro. Y'all just concluded.